Welcome to Digimon. And welcome to Digimon, and welcome to another deck profile on the channel. If you are liking this content, please make sure to like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the content. It really helps us out as a channel as we're growing and as we're trying to get some more kind of ambitious content onto the channel. Speaking of content, we are looking at a deck list. This is the deck list which I actually shared in my player profile, which is a new series we're looking to start for WarGreymon in the BT16 meta. But I thought we'd go into more of a deep dive for it. If you do prefer kind of actually, us seeing the cards and it being a bit more of a top-down perspective, just let me know and we'll go back to that format. But I figured we'd try this for the time being and kind of see how we go. But this is the Greymon list that I'm looking to work with in BT16. Basically, the aim of the game is to beat up Magnamon X. That's it. So we want to make sure we're as big as possible, we're raiding as much as possible, and we're moving as quickly as we can. I kind of touched upon it in my player profile a little while ago that Black WarGreymon's in a bit of a weird spot, and I actually think of the two, WarGreymon, so going raid and going fully kind of red base, is the better way to go. Let me know if you agree with that or not. Obviously you may disagree with me, but that's kind of my take on it. And it all starts with this list here. Starting with our Digitamer, so our level 2, we've got the BT9 Koromon. Because we want to make sure our DP is as high as possible, the draw engine stuff is not as important. I think there have been sometimes in testing where I do miss the draw engine stuff. So if you don't like... If you feel we're gaining enough DP elsewhere, then swap it out for a BT5 or a BT14. I tend to prefer the BT5 myself out of those two, but that's what I would kind of recommend there. We've got that extra 1000 DP on all of our Greymons and Omnimons, and it just helps us just get that little bit extra to beat over the really big kind of walls that get in our way. Then moving on to our rookies. So we've got 4 copies of the BT12 Agumon. BT12 Agumon is, I've said it time and time again, currently the best searcher in the Greymon archetype. It barely ever whiffs. It can, but it barely ever does it, because it's searching for a Greymon or an Omnimon, as well as a Tamer with Tai in its name. And all of our Tamers have Tai in their name, and we have a lot of Greymons. Only 2 Omnimons, of course, but we've got a lot of Greymons, so it does a really great job kind of searching things out. It also gives 1000 all turns, so it means it can be used defensively and offensively when we're blocking and when we're raiding, to kind of give us an extra boost, which is really good. Next card is the BT9 Magnamon X. I would love to try the BT11 Magnamon X, but it's just so awkward to use it. I think I will be looking at doing Black WarGreymon, and I think Black WarGreymon I will look at going more black base, I think. But for red base WarGreymon, BT9 Magnamon X is your best bet. It's the one thing that can search out your X antibody, which is very important for some of your combos, as well as also searching out your Greymons and Omnimons again, so it really does help you out. Then the last of the rookies is the BT14 Agumon, which I've got at 3 copies. Now, I do really love this card. It helps with your late game recovery. It helps kind of speed things up. It can do some really cool things so long as you've got a Tai on board to get that kind of free Greymon Digivolution. And then on top of that, it gives you an extra 2000 DP on your turn to help you with your aggressive plays. So I think it is a great card. But of the Agumons, I decided that was the one that I would have at 3 because we just need as much searching as possible in this deck. Going on to the champions now, I've gone for a 2-2-2 split on our non-Greymon X's. So we've got the BT12 Greymon at 2, the BT5 Greymon at 2, and then the ST1 Greymon at 2 as well. So BT12 is all about kind of getting your Tamers out. So long as you don't have a Tamer on board, it will play out a Tai for free, which obviously is great. And that's irrespective of play cost as well. So even the Memory Tamer Tai can be played out as per that kind of thing. And also, again, just like with the Agumon from the same set, it also gives you 1000 DP all turns for those defensive and offense plays. Then BT5 Greymon is next up. And BT5 Greymon is actually my favourite of these three. There was a time where I was actually playing it at 4, but I was missing Security Attack plus 1 Greymon. So I decided to bump it down to 2, but it's incredibly good. So if you Digivolve for free using the BT14 Agumon, it nets you a free memory for the Digivolution, and on top of that, you've got a 2000 DP boost from it. So it's just an incredibly cool card. For that. Also, I said to myself I was going to put the standard arts for everything in here for kind of visual accessibility, and I've realised I've just defaulted to the alt art that's in my deck, just because I'm a monkey. I'm just a complete idiot. But anyways, we'll go on to the ST1 Greymon now. So this is obviously a staple card from the inception of the game. Just gives Security Tech +1 as the inheritable. Simple as that. It doesn't really do much else. Other than that, it just helps kind of getting more checks and doing more damage. Then going on to the other level 4s, we've got the Greymon X's, 3 BT9 Greymon X, and of course the limited BT11 Greymon X. They help with protection. In the Greymon X from BT11's case, it helps with speeding things up as well, so it can reduce the cost of our level 5s that Digivolve on top of it by the amount of colours that they have, which is particularly good with the BT12 Metal Greymon, which is why it was limited in the first place. Personally, and I think I've gone on video saying it before, I think it should go up to a semi-limit. Digimon hasn't tried semi-limiting cards yet, and I personally think you could go semi-limit on this, just to give a little bit of a boost to Greymon, just to help it with that speed and everything there. I don't think you could have it at 4 again, at least not at the moment, but I think a semi-limit, I think it would be fine. Then going on to our level 5s, so we've got the BT12 Metal Greymon first, and I've got that at 3 copies. I'm actually going with a slightly smaller level 5 ratio, just to fit in some other tricks and stuff like that, which in testing I've not noticed too much, but when I have noticed it, it could be an issue. So possibly thinking of bumping back up to 8 level 5s, but we'll see. But starting off with the BT12 Metal Greymon, it's incredibly important because it gives you piercing, and piercing is so good when you're raiding into stuff. Just means you're kind of doing a 2 birds 1 stone scenario. You are taking out a Digimon off the board, as well as also doing some chip to the security as well. It also does have raid itself, and when it does change attack target, it plays out a Tamer that's black or red and has a play cost of 4 or less for free. So all of our Tamers are in that threshold, so it just works really well to play those out. Next up, you've got the BT9 Metal Greymon X, incredibly important card, especially with the combo that you can use with Metal Greymon for BT12 and the X antibody, because you can go Metal Greymon, Raid, declare the attack target change, Tamer, declare X antibody, Digivolve into Metal Greymon X, gain your 3000, gain your security attack +1, and now all of a sudden you're attacking into something that's a lot larger and has piercing because it's got the Metal Greymon underneath it. So it's a really, really cool play, very important, and it really helps with damaging things, boosting yourself up to make sure you're getting even bigger, and everything there. Then the last of the level 5s is 1 copy of Alteris mode, and this is mainly in there for stuff like Leviamon, stuff that can bypass our normal kind of surefire protection. So Leviamon's effect specifically, where I think it's Leviamon X's of the 2, I can't remember which one, but it pops twice. And if your WarGreymon is the only thing that's on the board, it pops twice, and you can only protect against one of those pops. It counts as one effect, but it's popping twice, so you can only protect against one of them. However, if you have Alteris mode and Greymon X in your sources, as well as enough stuff to be able to protect from those 2 pops, you can trigger them both within the same effect. So it just really helps you out in that matchup. Also, take something out with 5000 if you've got a Tamer. Doesn't come up that often, but it can. So it is pretty cool. Also, it's another kind of extension to your draws and your Digivolutions, and just helps you with getting more cards. Then going into the level 6s, star of the show is BT12 WarGreymon. He is so freaking good in the BT16 meta. He is Magna X's Boogeyman, because he gets huge. He gives himself 3,000 upon digivolving, and if he's digivolved on top of Metal Greymon X, that is also digivolved that turn. That's another 3,000, so you're looking at an 18k Digimon. Then if you've got the other inheritables, you could be looking at 20k, 22k. I've gotten up to 25k before in this deck, which is plenty to beat over the enemy Magnamon X's we will be experiencing come BT16 when it finally arrives in the UK properly, because we've had delays again. We had delays last year and we've got delays again. Any of my fellow British kind of Digimon players watching, please let me know in the comments how much you are annoyed by that and if you have been affected, because there are some suppliers that are fine. So I've seen some are okay, but the majority seem to be having delays, and it's even affected our regionals on the 31st of May, which is highly upsetting. Going into the next WarGreymon, so we've got 2 copies of the WarGreymon X from BT9. So reason why this card is great is because the more checks it does, it gains memory for each card that is removed from the security stack. So if you're doing the whole lot, you'll gain 5 memory from your swing, which is really, really good. And if you are, at the end of the attack, it will then also delete something with DP equal or less to itself. And because you're getting so huge, with all of the other DP boosts and stuff like that, you could delete some massive guys. Obviously, if they've got protection, then whatevs, you can't do that. But it's there, it does a great job, it's really, really cool. Then the last of the level 6s is 1 copy of the BT14 WarGreymon. He's basically just in there as kind of like a spare, slightly more security aggressive WarGreymon option. Honestly, I have been tempted to bump up WarGreymon from BT12 up to 4 and take him out. But the thing that has been keeping me from doing that is because this guy is quite handy if you need to attack to as you pass turn, because when he digivolves, he gives himself raid and then he may attack. So it means if you've digivolved into him and you've just so happened to pass turn, it means you can attack with him, potentially trigger your X antibody, digivolve into the WarGreymon X from BT9, and then get your memory back after you've depleted their security, and then Blitz Omni for game. So he is good as a one-off. I don't think I'd play him more than that. I used to play him at 2, but yeah, I think 1 is absolutely fine. Honestly, as much as I love Greymon, the WarGreymon from BT14 is kind of one of the more underwhelming secret rares now in hindsight. I think at the time it seemed amazing, but now, not so great. Then going into our level 7s, so we've got the 2 Omnimons here. We've got 1 copy of Blitz Omni. Obviously, that's there to just help us win the game. And then also 1 copy of the BT10 Omnimon X, which is there in case Omnimon, Blitz Omni, can't get that final swing. Because what he'll do is he'll return everything on board, he'll swing in, he'll get rid of the last security, and then he'll swing for game. So in the case that they've been able to recover, or they've been able to kind of make it so that Blitz Omni can't get that game winning shot, then BT10 Omnimon X can get there. Then going into the Tamers, and this is where I have a more interesting change. Everything else is pretty standard Greymon fare. But there's 1 Tamer which I don't see anyone playing, and actually I'm really enjoying, and that is 2 copies of the BT14 tie. He gives 2,000 to one of your vaccine Digimon at the start of main, and then whenever a security card is removed from your opponent's security stack, you gain a memory on your turn. So he works in conjunction really well with the WarGreymon X. WarGreymon X will do its checks, it'll get memory for each of the security that's removed, and then Tai will get an extra 1 just to sweeten the deal. On top of that, helps towards getting those huge DP numbers. I mean, like I say, I've been able to get to 25k, possibly you could get even more. I mean, if we're talking a maximum case scenario, where we've got, I wouldn't say, we've got like 2 copies of each of the ties and all that sort of stuff, but let's say we had 1 copy of the tie from BT14 and 1 copy of the BT12 tie. and then maximum amount of inheritables underneath. So you've got 1,000 from your Koromon, 2,000 from your Agumon, 2,000 from your Greymon, 2,000 from your BT14 tie, 1,000 from the BT12. So you're looking at 1, 3, 5. I'm terrible with maths. 7, 9k boost right there. On top of that, then you've got the 3,000 from your Metal Greymon X. So you're then going up by 12k. Then your 3k from your BT12 WarGreymon. You're boosted by 15k, which is insane. Like that is a huge boost. So potentially you could get up to about 27k. And that's without having, you know, all of the ties out. For example, if you had all of the ties out, then suddenly you're even bigger. You know, you're looking at 30k, maybe 31k, which is excessive, but potentially could be a game-changing thing in BT16. Then we've also got the obviously BT12 tie gives you the blocker as well. Helps with those defensive plays and does the cool boy-esque memory gain whenever you're digivolving into Greymons, which works really well, again, like I said, with the BT5 Greymon. Then we've got the ST1 tie, gives you the security set +1, is our memory Tamer, just helps us out. Then options, we've got 3 copies of offense training, searches almost every card in the deck. The only ones it doesn't search are the Omnis, the BT12 tie, and the X antibodies. So it's 7 cards out of 50. That's not bad. Then we've also got 2 copies of Crimson Blaze, which I've realised I've put the pre-release version on here. I was not checking that out. But Crimson Blaze is on here purely for the Numemon matchup, as well as anything else that likes to play things by effects. Can help clear boards of smaller Digimon, and really just helps us out. Numemon is still something that Greymon will struggle with, just because of how wide it can go. Greymon, especially Black WarGreymon, Raid WarGreymon can deal with wider boards a little bit easier, but Black WarGreymon really struggles with those wider boards. So Crimson Blaze is an absolute necessity. Even if I go Black Base, Black WarGreymon, I will still put Crimson Blaze in there. You can absolutely be certain of it. Then the last card in there is X Antibody. We've already touched on it slightly. Helps us a lot with the combos with the Metal Greymon X, as well as the WarGreymon X, and just helps us really kind of speed things up and get into more powerful Digimon more quickly. Yes, you still have to pay the cost, but at least you managed to do it whilst you're on a swing. But that's the deck. Like I say, let me know if you like this little format where we've got the literal deck list on screen. You can kind of grab it a bit easier in that case. But if you want to go back to the fully top-down perspective, then we can do indeed, and it most likely be only I will do lists like this on the channel, just because I've got the editing stuff in front of me and can do that, whereas everyone else might not be able to do that and will probably be filming their decks as normal. But let me know if you like this format and this format of the deck list, and if you like this list as well. Do you plan to try it out? Are you gonna stand till death like me and beat your head against the wall whilst Greymon becomes more and more irrelevant as we have a lack of support? But it's just so ironic. Last year we had all the support, and then this year it's just nothing. But let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, ding that notification bell, so you're not missing out on the content we've got coming your way, and we'll see you next time. But until then, keep it digital.